So just to show you, we started this removal from the stump, and we dug away a lot of this old rotten wood material. Then we dug in here, and the colony is sitting over there, or the wild nest, and we're busy transferring them over here into the hive, into frames with elastic bands. Yeah, let's get going. So the bees are removed from the stump, or the most of the comb, and there's about 4 or 5 frames of brood and elastics in the frames. And then the bees has an exit over here, or an entrance, and over here. So I've placed the hive quite close to the entrance, and I've smoked a little bit on the inside, so that drives them out through their natural entrance, and hopefully they'll find their brood at the hive. You'll see that there's a lot of bees sitting on the outside of the hive. They've recognized that there's something on with that box. And then I've also placed this bucket upside down, and there's some gaps over here, so my hope is that they'll go and cluster inside the upside down bucket, and then later I can just shake them into the hive. Yeah, it's quite a calm nest actually, but I think it's because half of the bees swarmed off yesterday. It's going well so far, we just have to be patient. So there was about a handful of bees that I could shake into this hive, and now there's a few bees sitting there at the entrance. I haven't really figured out that that's the new hive. And there's a lot of bees sitting over here doing some sort of fanning behavior, just trying to get everyone together. They now need to find a place where they'll congregate. These ones are sitting around. There's a lot of them flying around. They quite out of the stump. I just give a little bit of smoke inside the stump now and then. And then they do keep on coming out here, but they also go back in. Yeah. Make another video in 10 minutes or so. Quite a lot of bees. So that colony from the swarm doesn't want to stay in the catch box or in the hive that we shook them into, and I went and got about half of them and shook them into this original nests hive box where we're busy with the extraction, and with the hopes that I got the queen maybe and they'll start fanning after her. So because it's from the same colony, they'll most probably smell the queen and go after her. So this is incredible. That hive was standing slightly downwards from the stump, and I decided to actually come and put it on top of the stump, because the bees naturally go upwards when they're confused. And look at immediately, like within seconds of me putting this hive on top of the stump, they found the entrance and they're just rushing in. So we're very patiently just going to wait for them for maybe 10-20 minutes so that they can march in and then fan to get this madhouse in there as well. Look at the amount of bees on top of these walls, just everywhere, all over. But they've realized that this is their hive and they're marching in. These ladies are starting to fan over here, but not exactly how I want them. This colony was about 6 or 7 frames when we brought them here, And these 2 or 3 frames were empty frames just to give them space to expand. They're really coming out now. So I'll just draw 1 or 2 frames over there just to check what they're busy with, and then pop the super on for them. This colony is extremely feisty. It's rare that I see bees this active. So the newest frame on the side, they've already filled up majority of the frame. And as you can see, that frame already has some honey on it. It's also full. So they were very soon going to be too big for this hive, so we're going to pop the super on and not disturb them too much. There's already a lot of bee activity going on this property. So the super full of wax strips is on, and these bees are quite feisty. I'll just give them a bit of smoke. And they've got a super on. Now they can work. They don't have to swarm off. It's quite rewarding. So notice how these bees are sitting on the outside, and they sitting there with pollen. So it's actually the foraging bees that come in from all over, and there's a disturbance here by the hive. So instead of the usual in and out with traffic officers showing the way at the entrance, now it's a bit of a confusion, so they go and sit on the front of the hive and try and figure it out. And there's also a gap here between the super and the brood box where they can smell the hive, and they try to go in there, but the space is obviously too small. So I'll just smoke them a bit to calm them down. Not in the hive, just outside. If the bees do this, then we know that there's a queen inside. If they march like this, look at that definite march going on in there. Look at that. That's what I've been waiting for. It's quite exciting. And I smoke them quite a lot because they keep on going into the stump, and I kept on smoking them out of the stump for about 2 minutes now. And then you have to let go of the smoke so that they can orientate themselves again, and then they do this. They march in. So I guess in 10 minutes or so we'll be a lot less busy outside. There's look at how all these bees has cleared up this confusion. So they're certain where they want to be now, and they've accepted this hive. So my smoker made a whiff of smoke here below the hive, and I realized there's quite a cluster of them sitting under the hive as well. So I'm just going to scoop them by hand and put them at the entrance.